channel. I am so glad you guys are here to join me for yet another story time. Where we left off, I've had my ectopic pregnancy in 2010, and yes, me and Mr. Wright are still together. We're moving forward about 2 years. It's 2012 now. So one of the nurses at the school that I taught with, Miss Annabelle, she referred OBGYN out for us. So I ended up going to see an OBGYN with that system. And that OBGYN, the good doctor, in my opinion, is like the most amazing doctor I had by far in my life. So the good doctor, she is a very thorough doctor, very thorough. She tries not to take a cowboy mentality and just rush into things, but she tries to take her time and make sure that she does it right the first time. So upon going to see the good doctor, one thing that I found out that happened with the last ectopic pregnancy, if you know anything about ectopic pregnancies, I know if you saw my very first video, you're wondering, how did I have 3 ectopic pregnancies? Answer to that question is short and simple. The person that I saw, the last OBGYN, because he decided to deliver the baby, he had a surgeon perform the surgery on me, which kind of makes sense, right? She decided to give us a better chance at having a baby later on in the future. So when she took the baby or the fetus or whatever out, instead of her getting rid of the fallopian tube, she actually just took the 2 pieces that was left and she attached them together. And she also told me, in her words, that she did a raggedy job. She did a raggedy job. So yeah, went to see the good doctor and informed the good doctor of this, and of course the good doctor was just like floored that this really happened. So the good doctor is like, okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna do HCG tests to see if your levels are rising or falling. The purpose of the test is to see if your levels are rising, then that would suggest that the baby is actually growing. But if they're not, then that would suggest that maybe the baby is not. Of course, we don't want the baby to grow too big and then it ruptures the fallopian tubes. Anyways, so I'm at work one day, and the teacher whose classroom that I'm with, Miss Trisha, one of the kids in the classroom was having a birthday party, little Mia. So for little Mia's birthday party, I never forget, the date was 12/12/12. Anyways, so little Mia's mom came to throw her birthday party at the school with her school friends. So I went to the cafeteria with little Mia's mom to set up for the birthday party, and then Miss Trisha just walked out with all of the kids to bring them into the cafeteria. Well, when they brought all of the kids into the cafeteria, I had already let the nurse Annabelle and the teacher know about my previous ectopic pregnancy and the fact that I was pregnant now, and you know, just in case if something went wrong. So I got into the cafeteria and I felt like the strongest pain ever. It was like the pain that I felt just would not go away. So I let her know. I call my OB and I speak with the nurse, and the nurse tells me to come straight to the hospital, like, just, you know, don't try to do anything else, just come straight to the hospital and have Mr. Wright meet me there. So I call Mr. Wright on the way and I let him know what's going on, and of course he meets me there. So we get there, and the good doctor has us to do an ultrasound. The ultrasound did determine that we were having another ectopic pregnancy, unfortunately. So the good doctor decided that, you know, she knew how I felt about surgery, so she didn't want to try to put me back through surgery again if that wasn't, you know, my first choice. She decided to go ahead and try the methotrexate injections. So when she tried the methotrexate injections, the first one didn't work. So I stayed in the hospital. Mind you, during this time, I'm in the hospital admitted or whatever. So we stayed in to check the blood levels and to see if the first one worked, the levels would need to decrease, but they weren't. So then they gave me the second injection. Well, with the methotrexate injection, the nurse did let me know that a lot of women said it hurt. For me, at the time, I don't recall it hurting. I was tensing up and ready for the pain. But when he gave it to me, I don't know if he was just pro at this and he had done it several times before or what. But for me, it wasn't too painful. It wasn't so bad. But anyways, so had the second methotrexate injection, and unfortunately the levels were still rising. They were not falling. So as a result, the last result was, surgery. So while we were in the hospital and I found out that I had to have surgery again, I was pretty upset and I was really down and kind of depressed. So Mr. Wright wanted me to know that basically he didn't care if I couldn't carry his baby or if I couldn't have a baby, that he still wanted to have me in his life, and if he had to choose a baby or me, he'd choose me. Of course, in my mind, I felt like, I wanted to let him go because I felt like I don't want to hold him back from being a good man to a good father, a good man all around to someone else who I feel like may deserve it more than I did. Because I'm not going to lie to you, I really felt like I didn't deserve it. I don't deserve having a good man because I can't even give him a child. And, that's so simple to some people, but for me, it felt like it was virtually impossible. So I felt like, I don't want to string him or drag him along any further. I really wanted to kind of like get off the train and just let him do his thing and then I do my thing. And, I just wasn't going to try to be wifed up or anything like that by anybody. But of course he had, we were engaged at this time. By this time we were engaged. I'm sorry, I forgot to mention that part. So as a result of that, we made the swift decision to go ahead and say I do. Yes, clap it up for us. Oh my God, so excited. So yes, I'm in the hospital and my lips are crusty and my hair is all over my head. I'm looking like Don King's little sister. But guess what? I don't care, girl, because I snagged my man. So we were in the hospital and we, of course, needed someone to officiate. So we called the pastor of the church that we were at, and the church secretary and my mom was there. And so we got married right then, right there in the hospital. Can you believe? So after that happened or whatever, the doctor did let me go home against what she wanted to do, which she actually wanted me to stay because she wanted them to prepare everything for surgery. I was just like, I needed to go home for a day and I'll come right back and have surgery. But yeah, so I went home and that night I felt fine, but the next morning I got up to get ready to go to church with my sister, and I called her and I let her know that I was going to go to church with her. I was getting in the shower to take a shower before I got ready to go to church, and I felt pain that was just like unbearable. I felt like it was off and in, just right there. So I called the ambulance because I'm like, yeah, no, this is not normal. That pop that I felt in my stomach, that tear, that whatever that was, that's not right. That's not normal. They took me to the hospital, rolled me out, told the nurses the story. And y'all know the nurses laughed at me. So, yeah, guys, they laughed at me, and I thought that was like really unprofessional and super rude. Not to mention. So the ultrasound tech, they called the ultrasound tech to do an ultrasound on me, and she's doing it, and it's excruciatingly painful because, mind you, my fallopian tubes have ripped open. So I'm in an immense amount of pain. You're trying to probe me. That's not a good idea at all. This is painful. So I'm like screaming in agony and in pain. And she runs out to tell the nursing staff that was out there getting a good kiki out of me, y'all need to stop. Her tube is ruptured and she's having internal bleeding. So when she tells the nursing staff, I just see a fleet of scrubs and white gowns just coming right my way, and everybody's poking me with needles, trying to calm me down. I'm like, I've been in here screaming for forever and telling y'all what was going on, but y'all didn't want to believe me. Whatever. So they called my doctor, and I hear her name over the loudspeaker, and within a matter of minutes, I see Mr. Wright come in. because he was at work that day. I see him roll in, and then I see an ambulance come in. Well, the ambulance was to transport me over to the good doctor. Thank the Lord. I ain't gonna have surgery there, no ways. So they transported me over to the good doctor, and we did surgery there. As a result of the surgery, because I lost so much blood, they did have to do a blood transfusion. So my thoughts of that ectopic pregnancy. Though the ectopic pregnancy wasn't the best, situation, again, um, for in terms of my emotional state, Mr. Wright definitely made that process a little bit easier, a lot bit easier. I'm not gonna lie. So, if there's fellas that's out there and, your wife is experiencing maybe a miscarriage or an ectopic pregnancy or whatever, but troubles with having a baby, please understand that this process isn't just one person. It's actually the both of you guys. It didn't take just her to make the baby in the first place. So it's not going to take just her to be able to push past whatever child loss, infant loss, pregnancy loss that you guys have had. It's going to take you guys working together as a team. And that's where I feel like the Mr. Wright, I'm sorry, we can say his name now because we know who he is. He's Raymond. So that's where I feel like Raymond was, like super, super helpful for me in terms of that infertility journey, because yes, even though it was my body that was going through it physically, but emotionally, mentally, financially, we both suffered. We both took a hit. In terms of our relationship, we actually grew stronger because Raymond made up in his mind that he didn't care if I could have babies for him or not. He knew that I was the woman that he wanted to be with. And Raymond definitely stepped up in several ways and showed me how, as a woman, I should be treated, and treated me in that way. And as a result, I being his wife was definitely one of the proud moments of my. I wear right on my shoulder as a badge of honor. I am so glad and so grateful to be called Mrs. Woodley. Until next time, I love you with the love of God, and there is nothing that you can do about it.